I laugh inappropriately. That has been something that I've struggled with for most of my adult life. I tend to find comedy strangely in places where maybe most people don't. And um, I don't know. I just have had to learn um, how to kind of temper that and be aware of my surroundings, the situation, the places, the people, and behave appropriately and accordingly. And it has taken into my adult life um, to get better at that. But I laugh easily, and so that has given me, I think, kind of an advantage in uncomfortable situations where I'm able to find a lightness in things that are typically very heavy. So, I want to talk a little bit about how laughter can be such an important tool when we're going through some of our biggest struggles and our darkest days.
I'm pretty serious, and a lot of people don't see that lighter side of me, but I have always laughed easily. And that was something that Lance and I really had in common too from the very beginning was how much we love to laugh. And I laughed inappropriately from an early age too and had to learn how to really gauge the audience. But as time went on and Lance's illness progressed, we laughed at everything. And it went back to being inappropriate. But I think it's such a good way to lighten up a very serious situation.
It really is. And it, I've found so many times that it offers um, just kind of an outlet for people to kind of diffuse some of their emotions. It's like it's going to come out one way or another, and maybe it's going to be tears, but you could also release some of that tension with laughter. And I think, while tears, I think, can be so incredibly healing. Because I know I always feel better after I cry. Laughter is healing as well. Like, we know that, and that it just helps us to feel better. So I think being able to provide kind of an outlet for people's emotions, it's important. It's important to allow yourself to feel things in a genuine way. And I was thinking, as we were talking about, this topic, one of the things that kind of helps with that is not taking yourself too seriously. I mean, that's really, for me, that's kind of a key to life, being able to laugh at myself and laugh at situations that are completely outside of my control. Because there is sometimes the comedy is dark, and sometimes, like we said, it's kind of inappropriate, but it's reality. And so just acknowledging that that's funny, like from the outside, if you're just watching me, it's funny. And maybe I tripped and fell on my face, and like that's funny.
Oh my gosh. I'm clumsy. So I do things like that all the time. And I've been able to laugh at myself my whole life. It lightens up the situation because other people want to laugh. So if I'm laughing, they can laugh too.
It's helpful. I know we have, and this is just a little personal story. Um we have, a little camera outside of our house at our front door. And there was one day that one of my daughters, ran back in the house. We were leaving to go to school, and she ran back in the house to get something that she had forgotten. And somehow she trips, but you can't see it. You can only hear it on the camera. And I mean, she hurt her arm really bad when she did that. It was very serious, but we still watch that video because you can hear her trip and her water bottle dings on the ground. And I mean, it just makes me laugh so hard. So I think it wasn't funny that she hurt herself, but there was a comedy in the sound. It's something you would see in a movie, and some slapstick um scenario. So I just think that like being able to take something that is serious, that is painful, like really, that's real. Pain is real. And bad things are real and bad things happen. But when we can find the lightness in that and we can find the humor in it, it's so much easier to, it's so much more palatable, so much easier to digest because that's what's common across all of us as people, that those bad things happen, but also that we find things funny.
You know, Lance and I laughed at everything. He had the best sense of humor. We went to comedy clubs from the time that we were first married. And in fact, after his second diagnosis, I used to organize get togethers in our neighborhood, and there were between 15 and 20 of us that would go do things. And I organized an evening at the comedy club, and it was just what we needed at that time. But one of the things that I realized, and I really thought about it as we were talking about this subject, is that I think the fact that we were able to laugh at everything and still enjoy our life made it seem like what we were going through was less serious to the people who were not completely involved in our life and didn't really see the day-to-day things. So,
Do you think that made it, maybe unintentionally made it easier for people to relate to you or to be more comfortable around you?
possibly, yeah, I could see that in some situations. But I think in other situations too, we've talked about denial, and I think that for some people it also helped them live in their denial a little bit more. Well, they wouldn't be laughing if things were as serious as they said they were.
When I was thinking about this episode and what I wanted to say, I thought about one of my very favorite movies ever is Steel Magnolias. And still to this day, every single time I watch it, I'm bawling my eyes out at the end because it is like so tragic. But the comedy in that, I think, is what makes that story so incredibly beautiful. And two particular scenes that I thought of immediately is the scene where the main character is getting ready to go in for a kidney transplant the next day, and everyone is making these hilarious jokes and they're laughing, and the main character's father is so upset by everyone making light of the situation because he's so upset with the fact that his daughter is about to undergo surgery. And I think it shows that like for some people that just isn't the answer for them, and so to be sensitive and aware of that, and for some people they just can't get past their fear, and they're maybe not able to do that, and so just being I think kind and just aware of the fact that maybe everyone doesn't handle things the same, but I loved that that scene demonstrates that everyone else is able to lighten and diffuse, and that maybe there's just one person. So I think what that always said to me is like this is a way that a lot of people handle their stressful situations. Obviously it's a story, but I think that, you know, when we see art like that, it kind of is a picture of what reality is. And so there's another scene in the movie after the main character dies when her mom at the funeral is having a complete breakdown, but her friends around her keep making jokes, like literally making jokes and lightening it. And it, what it does is cathartic, like it brings out all the emotions. So there's laughter, but then that turns into tears, and it just allows for an overall release. It's like turning on this valve that allows for all this emotional release. So I think that it just laughter has this magical ability to allow ourselves to open up and just be genuine, be authentic, whether that's tears, whether that's anger, whether that's hysterical laughter. Like it doesn't matter. It just opens up a space for us all to take that big, deep breath and allow whatever needs to come out to come out. So opening up that authentic space for the people around us, I think what a gift that we can, kind of give to people or hold that space for them.
I know that in the life that I lived with Lance, I know that we shared a lot of laughter with people. And I hope that it was helpful to those who spent a lot of time with us because it was such a heavy life. But that was how we got through all of our days. I don't think we had, for most of the years that we were together, I don't think that we went a single day without laughter. It was just, it helped. It helped so much. Where it was such a hopeless situation at times, laughter just made us feel better.
Did you guys ever have, or can you think of anyone that you ever had around you? Maybe just even for a short period of time, maybe it was a nurse in a hospital, or maybe it was somebody, a caregiver that came into your home, or somebody that had a natural ability to point out things in your life where they saw humor and help diffuse your stress at all? Did you have anybody like that in your life?
Well, probably you, Jenna.
Oh,
You were the first one that came to mind. Um, um, I'm sure. Yeah, we did have some people. I mean, we had a couple of caregivers that were like that. People that we spent time with. Your son was one of them. Another caregiver, another male caregiver that was a really good friend of ours. We laughed a lot with him. I would say pretty much anytime we had a caregiver that would travel with us, those were the people that I chose to travel with us because of their ability to laugh and see the funny things, to see the good things. That's who I tried to surround us with as often as possible, anyway.
well, I always see those opportunities just to laugh, and I'm always looking for them. So because I think that's what's always helped me to get through the challenging times. I'll tell you one thing that also came to mind as I was thinking about this topic. When I was first going through my divorce, and there was a moment when I came to a realization that I would have to sell my house. And so this was the house that my ex-husband and I had purchased together, and that it kind of ended up in my lap, and there was really not a lot of value in it, but I needed to get out from underneath it. And we had lived there for 18 years. So if you've lived in a house for 18 years, you accumulate a lot of just kind of junk and stuff. And there's just a lot of work to do to get a house ready to sell when you've lived in it that long. And so my son, the one that worked for you, he was at home, and I want to say he was probably 13 or 14 at the time. And I said, buddy, I need you to help me. We got to clean up. We had a section of the backyard that just had a bunch of junk in it that needed cleaned up. We had the garage that needed cleaned up. I said, I need you to help me. And we just need to get this done. And we had a friend bring over a trailer, and we were just going to fill up this trailer with all the junk. And I just remember us being out there, and it was hot. It was in the summer, and we're dirty. And what we just had this kind of rhythm going where one of us would just start to get mad, start to get angry, start to complain. And it's like that space was allowed for just a little period of time. And then the other one would just like bring it back down into something funny. Like there was a joke in there, and then we would laugh and laugh and laugh. And then it was like the other one would get angry and start to just kind of ruminate on all the bad things that had happened, and like, and then the other one of us would like make a joke, and then we would laugh and laugh and laugh. And we continued that rhythm for hours. And to this day, I just really credit that ability to diffuse those angry moments With us, I mean, that was the entire reason that we were able to get through that, like just the two of us. And it was like it really connected us, and it, like I said, just propelled us through that situation until, it took us a couple days to do it, but it was really beautiful and it was just natural. But we just kept like helping the other one to get past their angry frustration kind of moment into this release and laughter. So I still think about that from time to time and how like energizing that was. I wouldn't say it was healing, it was energizing. It helped us to continue to move forward.
I was just thinking about all the times that Lance would do that. All the years that he was sick, especially, he was like that from the very beginning. But all the years that he was sick, even with the dementia, he was so funny and he could just diffuse any situation with laughter. I could just be so frustrated and he would just say something funny and I would just stop and I would start laughing. And that would be the end of my frustration. It would be, I mean, it just helped turn things around. He did that all the time when we were at the gym. We've talked about that before.
I remember all the times that he would make some snarky comment about put your back into it or try a little harder.
Uh,
Well, I'm so thankful that we were able to talk about this, and I hope this gives someone just some peace about maybe if they laugh inappropriately or they feel like, gosh, my life isn't that funny. Why am I laughing? Well, because that's how you're going to get through it. It really truly is. And we just need to be more comfortable with not taking ourselves too seriously, even in the worst situations and the worst scenarios. There is a way to lighten the mood and laugh at yourself and laugh at your situation, because somewhere there's some, maybe dark, but there's some like cosmic humor in there somewhere. And if you're open to seeing it, it's there, and it really does help to, like you said, just kind of let that out, diffuse the negative emotion, and kind of bring you back down to baseline. So I'm glad that we were able to talk about this, and I hope it helps someone. Well, thanks for the chat today, and I look forward to our next one. It was good to see you.
good to see you, Jenna.
Bye.